All right, this is going to be a new kind of series of videos, and it's called Stop the World, I Want to Get Off. Now, where I got the saying from, where I got it from, I don't know where the guy that said it got it from. Could have been from a rock band or something else. He sat as my lab partner. We had electronics in school. It was basically the RET system. When I got out of school, I went to RETs. So anyway, he's sitting there. I help him get his radio working. I help everybody get their radio working. The radios never worked before. The teacher hated me. Uh, so anyway, uh, he tells me he took the scholarship test for RETs. And he goes, it won't do any good because we need someone else from the school, our school, to take the test. Has to be at least 2 students from each school. And he kept bugging me to take the test. And I knew the fix was in. His father was the janitor of the school. And when we went to get the interview and do the paperwork, my mother wouldn't go with us because we wouldn't dress up in suits. Anyway, me and my father go. And my father fell for it. The guy kept pressing my father, get your son to take this test. We'll give out a scholarship and the whole thing. And finally, I'm trying to explain to my father, the fix is in. The kids, the school system is selling the RETS package, but the rule is they need 2 people. And the school is going to side with the janitor. No matter what test, no matter what results I get, I'm not going to get the scholarship. My father didn't believe it. Took the test. Didn't get the scholarship. The other kid got the scholarship. And everybody's like kind of razzing me. I said, look, I don't even want to discuss it. So anyway, I graduated high school. And the third day, the first 2 days going to RETS, I had to walk there. But my father let me have his car for 2 days. The third day, I'm walking home from it. And the kid that got the scholarship, he pulls off to the side of the road. And I get in, he's giving me a ride. He starts almost crying. He goes, my father fixed it so I got the scholarship. I said, yeah, I know. He goes, you deserve that scholarship. I said, don't worry about it. I said, I have all the money to go to RETS. I saved it up when I was working in high school. But the kid drove me every day. He came and picked me up at my house if it was raining, at the corner if it wasn't raining. And I gave him like $15 a week for gas. So it all worked out for me. All right, it worked out for me. But this kid would say, stop the world, I want to get off. Now, what you got to know about me is I try to help people. I'll walk along and I'll see somebody like in duress. And I'll start talking to them. And they have a lot of problems and they just need someone to talk to. And a lot of these people have such a rotten personality. Nobody wants to talk to them, but I still do. So over the years, I met this Vietnam vet, and the guy I walked with was also a Vietnam vet, and I introduced him. And one day I'm walking. The guy I was walking with he wasn't dead yet. All right, so I'm walking by myself, and I see this guy, and it's during COVID, and I asked him. He's a Vietnam vet, and he's got problems. His girlfriend just died. He's got that PTS. I guess I think I got the right letters. So I'm talking to him. I said, "Did you get your shot yet?" He went off on me. He called me a stupid motherfucker and all kinds. You are so dopey to fall for that. It's a hoax, man. Blah 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 blah. So I said, "Have a nice day." After a while, and I left. So never saw the guy again. So I started asking people back there, within 5 houses, and nobody knows who I'm talking about. And I went down and I tried to find this one guy, and this one guy's telling me the other guy's missing. And so I finally found out. The one wife says, I think that guy died from COVID. And I'm like, no. I said, someone else told me that. Yeah, he died from COVID. So I asked the mail girl. I described him to her, and she's like, no, I don't know anybody back there. And she's their mail person. She's good. So years went on. In my mind, he died from COVID. So the other day, I'm walking along, and this big guy comes by on a bicycle, big electric vehicle. I might have told you this story in a video that I didn't post, so forgive me if I'm doing this story again. But anyway, the guy goes by me, and he goes up about a block. He turns around, he U-turns, he comes back. He drives up on the not the apron, it'd be the ramp to to the driveway. And he comes up and he's smiling at me. He's looking at me. And he goes, "Remember me?" And I said, just point to where you live. What direction? I wasn't sure. Because, in my mind, this guy's dead from COVID. So he goes, "Back there." And I'm like, "There's only one back there guy that looks like this guy." I said, I said the guy's name. He goes, "Yeah, it's me." I said, last time I talked to you, it was during COVID, and you called me fucking stupid, a moron, and then he goes like this. Listen, this is how my life is. I lost 6 of my friends from COVID right after that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Did you have your shot? You went off on me. Think about this. I have that face. I have that face. And a lot of times I come up on someone, and after I'm done talking to them, I say, "I really needed someone to talk to." See, I could tell by somebody's body language what's wrong. Not exactly what's wrong, but they have a problem. And I never used to be able to do that. I told you, my one friend taught me how to tell when somebody's lying. So I took it further. I could walk by and I could tell by the way someone's looking at me as I'm walking down the street, whether they know me or they're nervous, because I'm a pretty big guy and I look pretty homeless. I showed you what I look like. So anyway, I learned a lot about people. And if I can, I'll stand there. You give them the best answers in the world and they're not going to take it. They're going to take the easiest way out. I learned that. But it's so funny, this guy goes, "I lost 6 friends from COVID." And I'm like, all I asked him was, "Did you get your shot?" And he went off on me. But what it is, he's got serious problems. But I walked away. I was nice. I said, I'll catch up with you later or whatever. I got to go. And then a friend of mine told me, he goes, sometimes people are having a really bad day and they just snap and they don't mean to. And I started learning that, because when someone calls me all kinds of names like that, really vile, it reminds me of the day when Farty Artie and Grucock are out there trying to get the lawnmower working. That's electric lawnmower. There's no line cord on it. There's parts missing, the on-off switch. And the guy called me a fucking idiot. "You're a fucking moron. You're a fucking idiot." And I said, "I got to go." And I went in the house, and then I told my mother. And then she called up the woman, and she said, yeah, her husband took the parts lawnmower. He had 2 lawnmowers. And one, the guy next door on the other side was taking the pieces from the old lawnmower to keep the one going. And this guy, in his haste, picked the lawnmower that had no line cord on it, no on-off switch. Yeah, I'm the fucking idiot. What I should have done was walked over there, rang the doorbell, get out here and apologize to me, or punched him in the head. That's what he deserved. He went on to do all kinds of stuff. He dies. His daughter was just as rude. They want other people to do stuff for them. And then I told you, she'd pay me back by going back over to my car, opening up the front door, and putting a Hershey bar, a big Hershey bar, on my front seat. And she was stupid. She was that stupid that maybe the sun would melt the Hershey bar into the seat. Did you ever try to clean something like that? But this is what I go through. And I was just talking to this other guy, and he's telling me something. I know that. I said, I'm the one that told you. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I'm the guy that told you. I said, I learned so much about people, but I never learned. See, when you really learn what people are about, keep walking. But I would hope somebody else would help me if I was in trouble. And he just said the same thing. He goes, I know you, I know the guy over here, and the guy over there. Other than that, he says hi to people when they walk by, just so if something happened to him, like he fell on the ground, that they would call the police for him. I said, you really think they're going to call the police? Or they're going to get a chair and sit in the window and watch you? He starts laughing. But this series, if I do a few of them, it's Stop the World, I Want to Get Off. He used to say that all the time. And he was a heavy smoker, just like his old man, and he died the same way. But he was so rattled. He sees me walking to school, or walking back from school, and he knows I don't have a car. And I told him the truth. I said, I saved the money up for that school. He got the scholarship. And he's like, the fix was in. He says, all I needed was another person to take the test. And he didn't think it would be me, but I wasn't going to take that test. I knew what was going to happen. And my father was so freaking naive. I kept saying to my father, you watch what happens. And then I'm sitting at the dinner table. I said, I didn't get the scholarship. So-and-so got it. Well, he probably got a better score. No, he didn't. And then when I went to the school and walked home that day, and that kid told me, he says, you got a higher score than me. And he says, the reason they gave him the scholarship was because we had the RET system in the school, and they did make money off the school. So but they stuck to the rule of there has to be, because they announced it at the school, there has to be at least 2 people apply. And yeah, I've been screwed over a lot of times. And some of it's because people just don't like me. I know they don't like me. You know, you got to watch when you show people up. It really aggravates them. You know, you got to stand there and nod with them and make believe, yeah, this is a really tough problem. It's like, you can get me going by saying deox, because I know if you spray deox on a Q-tip and then put it on the switch contacts without spraying the whole switch, the switch would clean up, it would work better, but in 9 months, 6 to 9 months, that contact would be jet black. So what people do is just, instead of spraying the contacts, they bath the radio. I know what they're doing. I've gotten those radios. And I go in there, I don't even turn it on, because I know if I turn it on, it's conductive, I clean it all up, and then I turn it on. And this radio here, I had it on the bench, I think for about a week. I put it away. And that's what happens. That spray that the guy used on it before he sold it to me, hoping it would start working, didn't fix the problem. What was wrong with this radio? Besides, it had to be totally recapped. All the caps in the radio were leaking. One of the people at some point tried to get the 40-meter section working, the 40-meter band. Let's just say 40 meter. What happened? The radio was stored in such a hot place that the coil was wound with wax on the Litz wire, and when it got so hot, the coil ran. The actual coil went like a slinky. It went sideways, and the oscillator wouldn't start. I found that after I did almost all the radio, and I could see where the guy changed all the parts. And so I'm in that section now, and I'm like, I have to take the coil ohmed out. But I said to myself, you got to take the coil out and look at it. The guy could have done anything to that coil. As soon as I start lifting it up, I see that it's wound, it's wax covered Litz wire. You wind it, and then at some point, if it gets too hot, it just melts. All the wires just shift over and spring. They're like springing, and they spring out. And now you don't have enough turns the right way, and the oscillator doesn't work. That's another thing that's wrong with this radio. This radio has been a real pain in the ass. It's more than a pain in the ass. Yes, I think it's rectal cancer and chemotherapy. I think that's how bad it just keeps getting bad. But I'm hoping that by putting a 100 millihenry choke on the end of the scope, just clip it on there, like that, and putting it near the coil, you'll be able to see the coil that its lead is arcing. Even though the coil's not on by the band switch, the end wire that goes to the band switch that should be switched on and off, that's the one that's arcing through the conductivity of the Bakelite, and it's caused by deox. And then once it gets to a certain point, the Bakelite carbonizes, and it goes real fast. It only takes maybe 20 minutes before you have a flame actually up there. And that's what you go see. Go watch that video. It's on YouTube. It's called How Hard Could It Be? This guy works on one of these radios. And then I'm thinking the other guy that's got the website. Well, anyway, go look around. If you got one of these, I know there are people that have these that they never recap them. They're playing make-believe with these things. These things are $300 and up. And when it's not $300, the shipping is $270. I think that's it. All right, that's it. Stop the world. I want to get off.